Hello everyone, welcome back to the Class 47 Peter YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at two products. Now these are not locomotives or rolling stock, because as you know, products I tend to look at are mostly locomotives and wagons and coaches, etc. So it's not very often I tend to take a look at some other products, but because I'm going to be doing a little bit of modelling with these products here, I thought I'd make a video on these. And today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of 3D printed products made by Jumble Printing. Geoff Readman over at Jumble Model Railway runs Jumble Printing, and he makes back scenes for model railways. He can make mugs, mouse mats, things like that, and he has also started making some 3D printed products for model railways. And these products are available to buy over on the Westall Wagon Works store, which I shall put a link to in the description below. And the products he's made so far are, he's made a trampoline, he's made some market stalls, some turntable edging strips, and then these two. A children's paddling pool and a hot tub. These are the ones that I've bought. So I've bought these two products to go on the layout, because I do have plans for both of these items. So first of all we will take a look at the paddling pool. And these are basically kits. On the back of the packaging you have the instructions, and of course it comes in a resealable bag. Now you can glue these together. The adhesive it recommends is Dulux Materials Plastic Magic, but you don't necessarily have to use the glue, because as I'll just demonstrate, these just clip together like so. Now the quality and the overall detail on these products is really nice. Very nicely printed, and I do really like the colour. And they're just simply, if you don't glue them, you can just simply unclip them. But if you do decide to not use the glue, you don't need to worry, because the top bit on the pool isn't loose in place. It just clips into place, as you can see. So I really do like the paddling pool. And so now we'll look at the hot tub. So there is the hot tub itself, and this is the inner part of it. And so I'm going to fix it in this way. It doesn't matter which way you fix it in, you can fix it in that way. You can fix it in that way, or that way, it doesn't matter however you choose to fit it in. I'm going to fit it in that way. And again, that clips into place. And again, you don't need to use the glue for it. If you do want to, then that's fine, but you don't have to. And if you do decide to not use the glue, it just clips into place. And you can take it out again. And again, the detail on this is really nice. So I'm quite happy with these two products. So my plan for these two is I'm going to be filling them with resin, and I'm going to add some people inside them, which I think that'll make them look really nice. So we're going to start with the hot tub first. So because I've turned my attention to the hot tub first, before I go ahead and fill any resin in it, I'm going to be painting the inner part of the hot tub. It's blue at the moment, but I've decided I'm going to paint it. And so I'm going to paint it using Humble Matte 64, which I think will look very nice. And the reason I'm painting this is because it's just a preference, to be honest. I think it will look quite nice once it's repainted. Okay, so the inner part of the hot tub has been painted, and I'm quite pleased with that. I haven't painted the base because there's no point, because you're never really going to see that once it's inside the hot tub. But yes, as I say, I'm really happy with that. So all I do now is to fit it back into place, like so. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to add some figures, and so that is where these come in. These are from China, and these are some beach people that are suitable for putting on areas such as the seaside on your layout, but you can also put these in the hot tub as well. And considering these came from China, I didn't have to wait that long for them to come. So these are the two figures that I'm going to use. We have a man and we have a woman, who I'm going to have to modify because the bloke is sat down but the woman isn't. Interestingly enough, there are a few figures in here that are sat down, but yes, the figures that are seated, they're in this pack, they're all men. There aren't any seated women in the pack. And also in that pack there are no children either, so I'm going to have to figure something out to use for children for the hot tub, because I would like to put a couple of children inside here and maybe an adult figure inside there. So that's something that we'll have to sort out for later on. So we'll concentrate on the hot tub first. So I'm going to turn my attention to the woman, because to get her to sit in the hot tub I'm going to have to modify the figure. And so to do that I'm going to cut the legs off. So sorry love, but your legs are going to have to come off. I know that this isn't strictly probably the correct way to do it. But I don't want to damage the figure at the same time. So there we are, that's one leg off. And there's the other. I've also decided I'm going to cut the arms off as well. Because then that way I can reposition the arms the way I want to. So first of all I'm going to glue her legs back on. So I've got some Revel Contactor Professional. So we are going to glue one leg back on at a time. There's no need to rush this. So that's the one leg. And there's the other leg. So both legs have been glued back on. And so we'll let the glue dry on the other leg, and then we'll glue the arms back on. Okay, so now we're going to glue the arms back on. So there's one arm. There we go. Want a bit of excess off. So there we go. So reposition the arms and the legs. So we will now let the glue dry. So whilst the glue's drying, we're going to have a go at repainting and do some touching up on the figures. First of all, there's this one. We will repaint this guy. We'll repaint his shorts and his hair because, as you can see, it's not perfectly painted and there are some imperfections in places. So both the figures have now had some touch-ups. With the bloke, I've repainted his hair and I've repainted his shorts. As for the woman, all I've done with this figure is I've repainted her hair. Her hair was black before, so I have repainted her hair to make it look like the hair is blonde. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to glue the figures inside the hot tub, and then we're going to sort the resin out. I'm going to glue the figures in first, because otherwise if I leave them in loose in the hot tub when I'm pouring the resin in, they might move about. So if I glue them in place, that won't happen. So now we're going to glue the figures in place, and so I'm going to be using Resin contactor. I know it doesn't recommend using that in the instructions, it recommends using Dulux Materials Plastic Magic, but I don't have any of that. So I am going to probably be attempting fate here with this, but we'll just see how this goes. So the bloke's in place. So now for the woman. And so there we go, the figures are now in place. And so I positioned it so like he's got his arm behind her back, basically, as you can see. And so I'm quite pleased with how that's looking. So I've just got to fill it up with resin, which doesn't need a lot of resin. So the resin that we're going to be using is Water White Clear Casting Resin PA. Now there are some manufacturers out there that do make resin suitable for using on model railways, but that costs money at the end of the day. This is resin that we already had, which is we've used to make a few things, such as a few paperweights, etc. So we are going to use this resin because at the end of the day I don't see any reason why this resin can't be used. And this is the hardener, which you have to put in. And then we've got this old plastic tub which had some sweets in it, which that's going to be used to mix the resin in. And my dad has kindly offered to mix the hardener in with the resin. So the resin has been poured into the hot tub. We have mixed the hardening with it. I know I wasn't talking over while I was pouring it in, but we had to be fairly quick about pouring it in. Didn't want to muck about and hang around doing it. So I've just got to let the resin set now. And that's come out really good. So now I'm going to move on to the paddling pool. So the paddling pool is now done. Again, I know I didn't do any talking over while I was pouring the resin in, but had to be quite quick about it and didn't want to hang about whilst doing so. And also I wanted it to be right as well and not make a mistake whilst doing so. Now with the paddling pool I've had to be a bit creative because I don't have any figures of children to use. And so what I've done is I've added what's going to be 3 teenage girls, who could be that the one girl has invited a mates over and they're just having some fun in the paddling pool. They've all got their arms in the air. It could be that they're just having fun. You know, they're just screaming and cheering, as you would expect. Or it could be that they're all going to do high fives together. I don't know. You use your imagination. And again, this has come out really good, this has. And these girls, they were actually blue tacked in place, but you can't really see the blue tack, to be honest. I was thinking of not using the white rim, but I decided that it looks better with the white rim on. And adds that little bit more detail. So all I've got to do now with both of these is I've got to let the resin set. So then we'll come back later to them. So I've let the resin to dry overnight, which is the best thing to do, and the resin is now dry, and I must say I am really happy with how these look now, and I'm just rather pleased with how they turned out. So these will soon be ready to go onto the layout. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a bit of scratch building, because I'm going to be building a wooden decking for the hot tub. So we're going to be making a wooden decking, and to do this I'm going to scratch build it using some matchsticks. The reason I'm building a decking is because we have a hot tub. It's an inflatable one, and when we use it, it's on a wooden decking, so that's where I've got the idea from. So I thought it would be quite nice to have a wooden decking for a hot tub to go on. So I've got some matchsticks here. These are striped gold ones. And I'm going to be using Yoo-hoo. There are plenty of other adhesives that you can use, but I'm going to be using Yoo-hoo. So we'll move the hot tub to one side for a second so we can concentrate on the decking. So I've cut some matchsticks to length and they've been glued together. So that's the top part of the decking. So now I'm going to be cutting and gluing on a few supports for them. Right, so the wooden decking, construction wise, is now finished. And I'm quite pleased with how that's looking. It's nothing too fancy, but that's not what I was aiming for. I am pleased with it, so it's good enough for me. So now that I made the decking, I'm going to be varnishing it using Yacht Varnish Gloss. And the reason I'm going to be varnishing it is just so it adds a bit more detail and more depth and makes it look a bit more realistic. Especially because if it's being outside, obviously the varnish will be applied on it to protect it from the weather. So I thought I'll varnish it just to bring out the detail. So the wooden decking for the hot tub is now finished. And the varnish is now dry. It does take 12 hours for it to dry. The bottom of the decking has only had one coat, whereas the top of it has had 3 coats. But you're never going to really see the bottom of it anyway. I know I probably necessarily didn't need to coat the bottom, but I just thought I'd do it anyway. So all I've got to do now is to glue the hot tub onto the wooden decking. So I'm going to use Yoo-hoo for this to glue it on. So I'll just put a blob of Yoo-hoo in the middle. And just get the hot tub. And I'll just place it on like so. So that's now glued in place, so all I've got to do really is let the glue dry. And then it can be added onto the layout, along with the paddling paw. So both the paddling paw and the hot tub are now complete, and I am really happy with these. As you can see, there's the decking, which I'm really pleased with. You know, I'm happy, so that's good enough. As you can see, there's a close-up. And so I'm just very happy with how this has come out, exactly as I wanted it to. So I'm looking forward to getting the hot tub on the layout. And here's a close-up of the paddling paw. I know there are loads of little bubbles in there, but to be honest, that can't really be helped. I mean, you can get bubbles out of resin, but it's very difficult. But, you know, it's still clear. You can still see the feet inside there. But then you could argue that they're kicking about, so that's going to cause a lot of bubbles in itself. So yeah, but then to be fair, standing from a certain distance you can't really see those little bubbles very clearly anyway, but I am still happy with it. It's exactly as I wanted it to look. As you can see, that actually does look really good. So there's nothing more else left to do now but to get these added to the layout. So I have thought where the hot tub is going to go, and it's going to go in this garden just here. So I'll put the hot tub just there. In fact, there we are. I know it's sort of right next to the vegetable patch there, but it doesn't really matter, to be quite honest. And the idea I have here is, as you can see, there's a shop here and there's a building right next to it. Now my idea here is that this building is a house that's being rented by the shop, and so the couple in the hot tub have moved in to the house and they're chilling in the back garden in the hot tub. So I think that does look quite nice there. The paddling paw is going to be going in this garden. Now there used to be that clothesline there with those towels on it. I've taken that out to accommodate the paddling pool. So we've got the paddling pool just here, and that's going to go just there. In fact, actually there is a bit of a hump just here, so I will just take care of that. There we are, that's flatter. And so there we are, that sits there perfectly now. So you got the mother there, hanging the clothes on the washing line, and you got teenage girls. Obviously one of them's a daughter and she's invited her mates over and having some fun in the pool. So that looks really, really good there, I think, in my opinion. In fact, I could even add that clothesline just there at some point, perhaps. That's just a little play around with that. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that paddling pool in there. That looks really good. And neither the paddling pool or the hot tub are glued in place, because they don't necessarily really need to be, I think. So that brings us on to an end of this video on the Jumble Lane hot tub and paddling pool. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Both are great products, I would recommend you buy them. So again, as I said in the beginning of the video, a link to where you can buy these products from will be in the description. Highly recommend them. They look great on your layout, trust me, because both of these products do. So there's nothing else left to say now, other than thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Feel free to post a comment and don't forget to smash the like button. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. Check out all the other videos and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.